Hello, wonderful. This is Sarah K Ramsey here to talk about finding love and success after a toxic relationship so you can bounce back better. And when I am on calls with women who are trying to decide what to do about their life, how to move forward, how to find happiness, one question I always ask is, how much space does the toxic person take up in your head? How much space does the toxic person take up in your head? How many hours a day are you trying to solve the problem of them? How many hours a day are you trying to figure out what they said that, why they meant that, why they said you were the toxic one, why you feel like you're going crazy, trying to figure out what they're doing, how to not set them off, how to not feel like you're walking on eggshells, okay? How much space does the toxic person take up in your head? Some of you guys are still in a relationship and that relationship's taking up a lot of space, and some of you guys are out of the relationship and it's still taking a lot of space up in your head. This can be parent or partner, okay? And or coworker, right? Toxic people take up a lot of space in our heads because they always keep us guessing and they always want to make sure we are doing the work of the relationship, okay? They want you to do the work of the relationship. So if you are doing the work of the relationship and they are avoiding responsibility in the relationship, you're going to have to think about them a whole lot. And very often I hear women and they say, oh, he expected me to be a mind reader. Okay? Or she expected me to solve all her problems for her. If there's a narcissist mother, when it's just like, always the victim, and oh my gosh, you got to do this for me, you got to take care of me, okay? Or a toxic partner. If you were a good wife, then you would know what I wanted. I shouldn't have to tell you, you should know, okay? They train your mind to, it's like a radio station, and the only station you can play is them. You will never, ever, 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 ever be happy if the main thing in your life is the toxic person. You will never, ever, 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 ever be happy if the main thing in your life is trying to figure out the toxic person. You will never, ever, 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 ever be happy if the main thing in your life is fighting the toxic person. Okay? You have to build a life you're excited about living. You have to find things in your life that you're excited about that have nothing to do with the toxic person. You have to have joy and peace and great things, little adventures. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It can be you're taking up a new hobby, taking up something that you've wanted to do forever. You have to have dreams that don't involve fixing the toxic person. Because when they train you to think about them and the only station you're playing in your head is the toxic person station, it's always going to be toxic, which is going to hold you back at work. It's going to prevent you from being a good parent. It's going to prevent you from healthy relationships with healthy people. The secret to finding love and success after a toxic relationship is minimizing the impact of the toxic person in your head and in your life, right? That can look a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. And finding a life you are excited about living, finding things that build you up, finding dreams that you can achieve, finding hobbies that you can feel good about, building momentum, creating small wins for yourself. Because with a toxic person, there's no wins, right? The game always changes. The finish line always moves. Okay? So if you want to find happiness, it has to be found in other things in your life, and it makes the toxic person much easier to manage. Okay, if it's somebody you have to co-parent with, someone you have to work with, a parent that you may see a lot less and set boundaries with, but they're still in your life for some reason. The happier your life is outside of the toxic relationship, the easier the toxic relationship is to manage. Or not manage at all. If you're one of the lucky people, you don't have to see them again. But if you are only trying to solve the problem of them, it's always going to be hard. If you have a radio station in your head that's cranked up to the toxic person station, it's always going to be hard. If the main event in your life is fighting the toxic person, it's always going to be hard. If every time they do something, because they're going to behave badly, they are going to behave badly. So if every time they behave badly, it's like ruins your whole day, and you go on that tailspin because you have been trained to try to please the toxic person and think about pleasing the toxic person rather than thinking about your own success, your own dreams, your own hopes, your own interests. Okay, so absolutely, without a doubt, secret pro tip strategy for finding love and success after toxic relationship is designing a life you're excited about living. Changing that channel on your brain, so you're no longer listening to the toxic person station, but you're tuning into your dreams, you're tuning into your goals, you're tuning into yourself and finding yourself, and that makes it 1,000 times easier to stand up for yourself, 1,000 times easier to develop your voice, 1,000 times easier to have boundaries, because it's not all about the toxic person. And that's where so many healing strategies fall short, because it's about learning more about toxic people. I was actually in another group and today, and they were like, is there anything about recovering from toxic people? Because this is just information about toxic people. And I said, well, joining the group Finding Love and Success, but there's a place for processing. But if the rest of your life is spent studying toxic people, it's not happiness. No one as a little girl grew up dreaming they were going to study toxic people. Okay? You have to build a life you're excited about living so that you don't think about the toxic person as much, and you can think about your dreams and think about what you want. And